I'm going to show you a Edelbrock's. This happens to be a 600 CFM with electric choke. I'm going to call your attention to two things down here. Fuel pressure, 3 pounds right there, and then we got another one over here that's going to run. We're going to hook it up, and it's going to run at 6 pounds. But first, we're going to run it and show you. These are the two things that goes wrong with carburetors. You're going to get another video if you buy this. Will tell you how to correct it, and it's going to tell you about a word called oxygenate. But right now we're not interested in that. We're interested in showing you this carburetor. What we want to do, these are the mixture screws. We want this thing to be running about 12 parts gasoline to every part air at sea level. And we want it to, as we accelerate it, we want it to begin to thin out. You can do, your mixture control is right here. If you don't have all this expensive equipment to measure those ratios, this is just like they measure your car to make it pass emission. You know, they measure what exhaust goes out. It doesn't make a difference what the CFM is, what size of motor it is. They're interested in what's coming out that tailpipe. So we're going to fire this thing up. Then as it runs, my partner over here, he's going to switch it over to the 6 pound pressure. And you're going to see this carburetor is going to start flooding. And you're going to start seeing this mixture is going to start going rich. Bad. Now that only 6 pounds pressure is as much as we can produce with our pump. But your manual pumps that come on a car, them things are around 9 to 10 pounds. That's where 90% of carburetor trouble comes from. Okay, just in a second we're going to fire this thing up. Okay, you're going to see this red light computing, calculating. Now if you don't have all this equipment, which I don't think you will have, you set these mixture screws to get the best RPM right here. And then set your idle and you got it made. You see that, how that thins it out when you're going down the road? Because you don't need as much gasoline once the car has overcome. Now you see that thing right there now? Okay. We're going to get it right exactly. Now, I want him to switch it over and put it on 12 pounds. Switch that knob, unplug that line. I got it. Going over to the 12 pound line. And you watch. Show the pressure down here. Okay, we're up at 6. Look at it already. Mixture's already, look at there. You're already richening up. Just on that little bit right there. Can you get a good picture of that? Your mixture's already gone crazy. See it? Going all over the place. Look at that mixture. Okay, we're gonna shut it off and I'm gonna explain one more thing. Here's a frequently asked question I got. It's a frequently asked question. You see that little thing right there? That's called a jet. People email me almost every day, can you jet this carburetor or any carburetor up or down to make it bigger or smaller? First of all, the answer is no. A jet, all it does is measure fuel flow. CFM has to do with how much fuel and air, CFM, cubic feet a minute, can flow through this carburetor at wide open throttle. It considers in the size of this, the size of the butterflies, and what other restrictions are on the inside. Now, it's just like how much water can go through a water pipe or a sewer pipe. Cubic feet a minute flow. So therefore, increasing the gasoline going through this jet or decreasing that has nothing to do with jetting it up or down to make it a 600 or a 700. That's all false information that these guys are getting off the internet. You cannot alter the CFM of any carburetor without a lot of machine work. You can bore them out. You can shine these things up. You can shave the top off. Maybe you might gain a little bit of air flowing down through there, but you change nothing by that. Now, what we have to do in building a carburetor to get it to produce this 12 parts of gasoline to 1 part of air, we have to monkey with these jets. But it's all done before you ever get the vehicle. The only time you'd have to alter to it is, say, if you had something that was 5,000 feet or above altitude, you'd have to put a smaller one in there to cut down on the gas. But these are set for sea level. You don't have to mess with them. They're done. This is a 600. Now, you have to, the 600 CFM, you can have a 600, 700, 800, 900. The bigger the carburetor you put on there, it still has to have the same thing, 12 to 1, 13 to 1. But the bigger the carburetor you put on there, the faster it's going to go, and the more gas it's going to burn up, the more horsepower it's going to produce. But you can take a 2-barrel and put on this same engine. It will run, it will produce the same amount of emission coming out that pipe if it's calculated internally properly. So don't listen to that old on the forum talk about jetting them up and jetting them down. And I hope this explains it. We're going to use this same video on the 600 CFM Edelbrock electric choke. Then we're going to make another one for the manual choke. But if you buy a carburetor, you'll get an additional thing that will talk about gaskets, air leaks, oxygenation, and why these carburetors flood over where they never used to. The answer is there's no lead in them.